Hello everyone, this is Jed Shlackman. In this video I'll be speaking about a topic that I'm going to refer to as spiritual agoraphobia. And this relates to the subjects of religion and spirituality, our belief systems about some of the bigger questions or mysteries of life. For those that are unfamiliar with psychology and agoraphobia, agoraphobia is generally described as a form of phobia where a person is afraid of being in places or situations where they don't feel safe or secure. So it could be places out in public, it could be fear of places where you're traveling, of going to cities that you haven't been to before, meeting people you haven't met before. So in a sense, it's going beyond your comfort zone. In the area of religion and spirituality, people have belief systems which in a sense provide a comfort zone for them, a sense of security or confidence, a sense that there is perhaps some higher power that's watching over them and protecting them, or that the answers to the key or vital questions of life are being provided to them, and all they have to do is accept and follow what they're being taught, and everything will be okay for them. So it might be that they're taught some type of moral code, and if the person follows that moral code, they feel that they'll be given a positive afterlife experience, just as an example. When we think of religion, we're usually considering a particular doctrine or belief system, some type of code of beliefs or code of morality or a combination thereof. And in a way, that is a form of spirituality. So it's kind of putting spirituality in a box or package for people to receive and embrace without looking further. Many people are brought up in a family or culture where there is a predominant religious system in place. So someone could be from a Christian culture, a Muslim culture, a Jewish culture. They might be from a Buddhist or Hindu culture. They might live in a place where there's a more indigenous type of belief system, so some native, tribal, spiritual, or religious beliefs. In fact, most of humanity is brought up in some type of place, some type of environment where there is a religious belief of some type that is common. So most of us have been exposed to religious beliefs. Those beliefs may not have been directly imposed upon us, so we might not have had a family that expected us to follow a particular belief system or participate in particular religious rituals or practices, but most likely there were other people in our community who did exhibit those beliefs and practices. Now, if we think about how many religions operate, we see that they expect their followers to remain attached to those particular belief systems. There's the idea that it's for your own good to accept and follow those beliefs, and if you don't, then in some way you're acting in a sinful manner. You're going against the will of God, per se, and there may be some form of punishment, some form of divine retribution or unpleasant consequences for you doing so. So that places upon people a type of fear, a fear that if they don't conform to that particular belief system or practice, that first they'll be in some way ostracized or rejected by their community, and secondly that there will be some form of higher judgment occurring, the Creator or God in some way imposing a penalty upon them for rejecting those beliefs. With the idea of spirituality, we tend to look more in terms of a person's individual search for higher awareness and higher purpose. So a person may engage in practices or explorations where they're trying to understand life. They're seeking greater understanding of their own consciousness, of the world around them, of the source or purpose of creation, what their place in the world is, all those bigger questions of life. So when we go on that search for meaning and understanding on a more individualized or less constricted basis, that tends to get labeled more as spirituality rather than religion. Of course, religion and spirituality do overlap. So you'll find within religions many of the same particular practices that people use to develop their spirituality. So you could find meditation and prayer and chanting and different forms of exercises, both within religions as well as in the practices of people who are involved in some form of spirituality that's not confined by a particular religion. So religion and spirituality are not mutually exclusive phenomena. They do overlap. However, there are differences in how we would define them, since religion is more constrictive, whereas spirituality has a more open concept of how a person might seek their spiritual understanding. With those ideas in mind, let's come back to this topic of spiritual agoraphobia. If you are part of a religion, if you have this set of beliefs or doctrines provided to you that presents itself as offering the basic guidelines for how to live your life, for the meaning and purpose of your existence, for how to act in the world around you, then there could be a kind of comfort, a security that's given to you when you just accept that and choose to follow that and not look beyond it. So that can provide you a comfort zone, this kind of box of cognitive comfort or intellectual safety, where you don't need to think beyond that. You just have this set of ideas or rules to follow, and that's what provides a foundation for your daily living. The challenge here is that how do we know that everything we're taught is the ultimate answer to life or to our existence? Is it really all that we need to know? Is it all accurate? There are many different religions and spiritual belief systems that exist in this planet and probably others beyond this planet. So how do we choose that there's just this one particular system or code that provides the absolute truth? Logically, it wouldn't make sense to do that. However, on a more emotional basis, we can see how it would be comfortable to attach to a particular belief so that you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to think beyond that. Everything feels kind of settled and secure within your mind. There isn't any uncertainty there. You just follow what you believe in and you feel good about that. If you've accepted that type of belief system, and if you think that if you're stepping outside of that box, if you're exploring beyond it, could be dangerous or hazardous, could cause your soul to be punished or damned or whatever you might label that, then there's a lot of fear that could develop. And that would discourage you from going beyond your comfort zone. In fact, stepping beyond that comfort zone could cause you to panic or have a lot of anxiety. And it could lead to you having unpleasant experiences, not necessarily because the things that you explore are in any way negative or harmful, but because your own consciousness will filter and influence things to reflect its beliefs, its own fears. So for example, if you have a fear about meditating, and even with that fear you go ahead and start to engage in meditative practices, that fear could in some way influence the experience you have in meditation. It could lead you to have some type of vision, some image come to you that is scary to you. And then as a result of that, you might create the story or belief for yourself that meditation is dangerous or harmful, that it opens you up to some negative force, and that because of that, you should just go back to your old, more limited belief system or religious practice and not go beyond the confines of that. If that were to occur, we could look at that as a form of spiritual agoraphobia, where you've developed this strong or intense fear of going into any circumstance or situation that's outside of your rather limited comfort zone. In regular psychology, we might think of a person who doesn't want to step outside their house as having severe agoraphobia. They're afraid of something negative potentially happening wherever they might go outside of their home, their small comfort zone. Well, this same phenomena could be applied to our belief systems, in particular to religion, where religion creates this narrowed belief system, this comfort zone, and a person could easily develop fears or anxieties associated with going into any territory beyond that belief system. Something I think that we should all keep in mind is that any belief system or idea that is really valid and truthful, that's really worth embracing and holding on to, should be able to stand the test of comparison or exploration with other ideas or beliefs. We don't want to be afraid of looking at other ideas or perspectives. If our idea or belief is actually more accurate and more truthful, then we should be able to discern that when we're comparing it with other ideas, with other belief systems or concepts. So I would encourage you to not be afraid to explore and examine different ideas, different viewpoints or perspectives about life, about the creator, creation, what we're here on Earth for, what happens after we leave this physical form, all those greater questions of life. If you're scared that you're going to be punished, that you're going to be engaged in some type of sin, or even looking at or exploring ideas outside of a particular box or narrow range, then you're kind of creating this fear system, this spiritual agoraphobia for yourself. Just as in our everyday life, it's important for us to be able to explore the world around us, to venture out and have a wide range of experience, to go to different places, to meet different people. It's important to be able to explore within our own consciousness, to explore ideas and beliefs. This enables us to grow and evolve, to not be a perpetual child stuck in a small safety zone, in a place where we might feel protected and secure, but we're not really growing or evolving. We're not actually developing our skills and abilities, our power, our self-confidence, our ability to handle life. So be conscious of this, be aware, or beware, you could say, of religious teachings or belief systems that teach you to fear, to reject automatically anything beyond whatever narrow ideas you've been taught. This doesn't mean you should just blindly accept everything that comes into your awareness, that you should embrace every idea, every teaching or practice that's out there. Yet you don't want to isolate or insulate yourself too much from the potential of learning and expanding, of gaining more understanding or wisdom. All of us are continuing to grow and evolve, to connect with greater levels of awareness. I hope that this discussion has brought you some insight and ideas into your personal growth and your spiritual path. For those that are interested in exploring the subject of spirituality, of holistic health and well-being, I invite you to watch more of my YouTube videos. You can also visit my website at www.phinsights.com, where you'll find additional resources as well as information on the healing services that I provide. For now, I'd like to wish each of you a wonderful day. Namaste.